right. That's the end of chapter 49. And this next one is going to be the final one. I'm going to do a quick minute 30 ad because we're right in the border of the ad maybe interrupting this chapter. So I'm going to hit that right now. So go grab a quick drink. Go get them. They took your rock. That's a bold assumption that the thing that lives there now is the thing that built that place, isn't it? It's got to be hard to build a building with claws for hands. Although I guess it's got all those little legs it could probably use for the fine motor work. They're not very strong though. Oh man. So we've got a little bit of drama going on in the group right now. Jessica and Ina. They're not really getting along. Women, am I right? I'm kidding, guys. I'm kidding. I wonder if Jessica will get a skill with her tablet. You know. You get skills for pretty much doing anything in this world. But what skill will she get? What could that be? Something that looks like a stylus, one page of runed writing, and a tablet. Interesting. Okay, guys, we're going to the last chapter. This is the final one of the night. Yeah, we'll see. I'm gonna try to get stuff ready for next Saturday as well, but I don't know how much writing I'm gonna be able to do on the vacation. Okay. Chapter 50. Jacob. Lou, Jessica, grab the Naga. We need to go. They returned to the beach, jogging across the sand, muscles burning from carrying the heavy water-filled claws down from the cave. What has happened? Said Lou, already walking toward the unconscious Naga. We heard another one of those creatures. Don't know if it's after us, but we aren't sticking around. As Lou and Jessica picked up the Naga, it woke up and grunted in pain. Ugh, what's going on? She talked slowly, eyes drooping. Another one of those creatures is coming. We have to go. The Naga's eyes briefly went wide. The horn. Grab the horn, she said quietly. The Naga is asking for a horn. Maybe on the beach by the other Naga? Lou announced as he lifted the Naga over to the raft, handing her to Manu and Ina, who had just set down their claws. He turned and jogged over to the corpses. Try to keep the claws upright if we can. I don't trust the covers, Jacob said as he pushed some things aside. Put her next to Matt. It's going to be tight, but we should all fit. Lou returned holding a large shell by a leather strap. Found it. All aboard! Cast off! Someone had tied a rock to a vine to anchor the boat, and he reeled it in. Lou held the shell out to him. Here, Captain. You should be the one to hold it. Blow the horn. The Naga passed out again. If I blow, more Naga will show up. Are we ready for that? Asked Jacob. Do it, said Ina. She'll die without help. Jessica started to open her mouth like she was about to say something, but Ina glared at her. Jacob looked around. No one said no. He put the tapered part of the shell to his lips and blew. Nothing happened. Everyone looked at him. Bro, maybe it needs to be underwater, said Manu. Jacob sighed. All right, I'll be right back. Jacob grabbed a vine and stepped back off the raft, dropping into the warm, salty water. He brought the horn to his lips and blew. This time, a deep tone was emitted. It didn't seem particularly loud, though. He blew it again, harder. Same thing. Although he noticed a manta in the distance turn and start swimming towards him. One more time for good measure, he thought. A third blow on the shell horn. Then he pulled himself back up with the vine and got back onto the raft, dripping water onto the deck. Could you guys hear anything up here? Everybody shook their heads no. He looked out over the water, now turning hues of yellow and orange as the sunset touched the horizon. Through the clear water, he started to see dark winged shadows approaching. First a few and then dozens. Gliding under the water and the raft, he saw them start to surface on the beach first. Naga outriders, stepping off of their mounts, and heard shouting as they spotted the corpses. Then they started to surface around the raft. 10, then 20, then 30. There must have been 100 Naga encircling the raft, just their heads over the water, staring at them. Bro, I think it worked, said Manu. Manu and Ina touched their weapons nervously. Lou casually leaned on his walking stick. Brennan seemed irritated at the interruption to getting his plants caught up on their water supply. Hey, we didn't do that to those guys on the beach. It was a monster. We have one of your people here. She needs help, said Jacob. None of them answered. They only watched. Jacob noticed a much larger winged shadow, about 3 times the size of the normal manta, glide toward the raft and then come right to the surface a few feet away. Its rider was a huge Anguis Naga holding a large metal trident. His scales were light green and he had a yellow collar scale coloration around his neck. His fierce eyes landed on Jacob, moving to the shell horn. Human, have you sounded the horn? I am told we are to give you safe passage. He spat a glob of green acid into the water in front of the raft. But if you have harmed any Naga this day, you will not leave here alive. Explain what has happened now. Jacob raised his eyebrows and glanced around at the army of angry eyes. He could see all of his crew tensing and looking to him. He gulped. Right. Yeah, no, we didn't. First thing, though, we have a survivor here. We did everything we could, but she needs medical care. If she doesn't get it, our nurse says she'll die. You may come aboard to transport her. Be careful, though. Her legs are crushed. The Naga's leader's eyes widened. Priestess, to the front! We have wounded! He shouted, without averting his gaze from Jacob. He saw one of the faces glide forward and then lift out of the water near the raft as their mantas surfaced. It was a female Anguis Naga with a necklace of blue stones. She's over here, said Jessica nervously, and waved her over, making room for her to step onto the raft. Even the female Anguis Naga was 2 heads taller than them, but significantly slimmer than their male counterparts. With thinner, less armored-looking scales, she looked apprehensive to step onto the raft. Everybody drop your weapons and let the Naga board. Make no aggressive movement, Jacob announced, more to put the Naga at ease than anything else. Naga, you may board. The Naga looked at him, scowling as she stepped onto the raft, and the whole raft tilted with her weight. She saw the Sepia Naga and her mood changed. She bent down and started humming. Her pendant glowed. She touched it with her hand and then transferred the glow to the Sepia Naga. The Sepia Naga visibly relaxed and opened her eyes. Ra'ino will not have the honor of meeting you this day, little one, said the priestess. The Sepia Naga nodded and her eyes drooped close again. The Anguis Naga announced, She will live, but will need a few moments before she can be moved. The leader spoke. Priestess, evaluate and identify the injuries. The Naga did so, studying her legs, eyes falling to where Jessica had stitched her. She turned to Jessica. You are the healer? Jessica, surprised to be addressed, said, Yes. What magic have you used to close the wound? I have not seen this before. Magic? It's not magic. I can't do that. We call those sutures. It's a thread that I have pulled through the skin and tied into knots to hold the wound closed. The priestess listened. I see. Barbaric, but effective in this case. She raised her voice. Their healer, though inept, has indeed provided assistance. The human speaks the truth in that regard. The leader Naga looked confused for a moment and then spoke. Thank you, priestess. When it is safe, remove her from their ship. The priestess nodded. He turned his eyes back to Jacob. Now, you will tell me what has happened here. We were passing through looking for water when one of my crew heard a cry from that island. When we landed, those two on the beach were already deceased. We heard the cries coming from deeper in the island and followed them to a cave. The cave was a sinkhole that emptied into an underground structure that seemed like a crypt. A monster had dragged your friend down there and crushed her legs. A few of us stayed to fight the monster while she was carried to safety. We ended up slaying the monster. Barely. There was another entrance to the chamber, I think what should have been the normal one that was flooded. We gathered the fresh water from it and then heard another of the monsters and fled. When I returned to the beach, my crew had already provided aid to your Naga, and then we left and blew the horn. The Naga leader had been patient and listened to the tale without interrupting. He now spoke. Describe the monster. Jacob did so, and the leader's eyes widened. What you describe is known as a Shillock, a shell horror. They are powerful foes and an ancient enemy. My scouts are verifying your story as we speak. Shillocks are known to have almost impenetrable shells. How did you supposedly slay it? Jacob could tell the leader was suspicious. With this, Jacob bent down and picked up the tide sword, lifting it up to display it. The Naga army started muttering to each other, and the leader held his hand high in a fist. Silence! And there was. Another Naga surfaced next to him and whispered in his ear. The leader turned, brow skin raised, and the new Naga nodded and then sunk back below the waves. He announced, The human's story is confirmed. Outrider pods 3, 5, and 7 follow the scout and take defensive position around the cave. At least 50 of the Naga immediately glided toward the beach and started dismounting. Messenger, to me! A Naga quickly surfaced and they had a quick, quiet exchange and then departed. At this time, the priestess lifted the Sepia Naga slowly out of the raft, nodded at Jessica, and then stepped out onto the waiting manta. His eyes returned to Jacob. Human, there are tales circulating amongst us of a human passing through our lands, wielding a tide sword, acting with honor. He paused. I did not believe it. He stared for a few moments directly into Jacob's eyes. Human, what is your name? Jacob. And what is your vessel's name? The Last Chance. Jacob thought he saw a hint of a smirk twitch onto the Naga's face. I, Draknath Steel Scale, before all eyes, declare the covenant has not been broken. Captain Jacob of the Last Chance has performed the feat of rescue, resulting in preservation of life and the defeat of a Shalok. Then he dropped the formality in his speech. Captain Jacob, your destination is the Salt Winds Trade Outpost, correct? Jacob nodded. I will send word ahead to allow you entry. He then raised his voice formally again. Let no Naga ever doubt that a steel scale will always pay a debt of honor. He gave Jacob a curt nod and then descended, the others quickly following, and the swarm of underwater shadows glided away. Just like that, the ocean was empty again. Wow, said Jacob. He felt his body relax, and he leaned against the mast. They didn't attack us, said Jessica. She bent over Matt, checking on his wound. She healed Matt's leg wound. Manu had a big smile on his face. I think they like you, Captain. Looks like I joined the right crew. Well spoken, Captain, said Lou. As the raft started to leave the island chain and enter the open ocean, Jacob felt like this was a moment to say something. Listen up, everyone. I know this hasn't been easy, and quite frankly, we are lucky to have made it this far. The next time we make landfall, we will be at our destination. In front of us is at least 2, maybe 3 days over open water. We have food, and we have enough water. The weather is going to get worse. If we have an emergency, remember the table at the heart of the raft is enchanted against water. Hold on to it if you can. If we work together, I know we can make it. As if answering him, the wind started to pick up, and the sail made of clothes strained under the gusts, whipping and snapping as the wind buffeted the raft. It coursed through his oily, unshowered hair. Jacob suddenly felt very tired. He slumped down against the mast to sit on the deck. Okay, guys, I'm just gonna rest for a bit. Ina, take over. An intense gust of wind struck the raft. The immense pressure caused the securing vines on the sail to tear, and a whole section of clothes were blown free. Damn it!